Welcome back. I'm Michael Bull, and this is the Commercial Real Estate Show. Today we're talking about industrial real estate, and we're talking about logistics. My guests are Mr. Logistics, Page Siplon, and we have Miss Site Selection, Annie Baxter. Appreciate you guys being with us today. And we have a lot of developers and listeners out there that work in the development world, in construction and advisory. How are developers winning business today? What are some tips?
I would say that in this market, one thing to consider is the trend back toward being closer into Metro Atlanta has shown that developers who've had the time, taken the time to be creative in finding these in-town opportunities. And one example is Majestic Real Estate put together a piece of property for Procter & Gamble. And in this situation, they had to even buy a church in order to make it work. So again, that's a very creative solution. But most of the most successful developers seem to be really driven by having the right sites. And sometimes that means getting really creative in order to get those sites in place.
Yeah, that's a good point. We had Larry Callahan with Patillo on the show recently, and he talked about how many sites they own and that they control. So they have some great sites, so that's a good one. Any other tips for developers to win business?
Sure, I'd say don't overlook the opportunity for public-private partnerships. Mm-hmm. Also, there's an opportunity we've seen some developers in this area pre-negotiate incentives. So their development has a pre-negotiated tax abatement that's in place that they can market to their tenant prior to any lease being signed, and that's a really creative solution because in the past, you've typically had those real and personal property tax relief proposals come in after a tenant is in hand. So having that pre-negotiated and in place, and having worked locally to determine what are the offsets for permitting and streamlining that process for a potential tenant as well is kind of a value add and an icing on the cake type thing for a developer to offer on the front end. That's
a great tip, and especially the time saving as well. And a lot of times time is money, right?
Sure, all the time.
What are some of the trends you guys see in logistics and today?
Well, yeah, there's quite a few. It's an exciting, growing industry. Mm-hmm. One of the ones we talked about before was e-commerce. Mm-hmm. One of the things driving e-commerce is this world of omni-channel. Mm-hmm. It's a fancy word to saying, multi-ways to order your products. Mm-hmm. We want to be able to get it through the internet. We want to be able to order it, over the phone and through a retail store and a brick and mortar. So omni-channel logistics and all that it means to our supply chains, both on the industrial real estate side, but also on the supply chain provider side, is going to be a big trend growing. We see that market growing. E-commerce, B2C e-commerce market is about a $1.5 trillion business and growing about 5 times the pace of brick and mortar retail. So it's going to be a big player, more than it even is today. The other one is the creative use of rail and intermodal. Intermodal means shifting between truck and rail, using multiple modes. We talked about airports as well, using multiple modes of transportation and really sharpening your pencil to take advantage of all the different modes that are out there. And the last one is we're going to see, and this is sort of a plus and a minus, the increase in that volume means there's going to be more trucks, and really that means more truck drivers. Mm-hmm. And that's a really great opportunity because it means more volume moving, bigger warehouses, more productivity for the states that they're in. But the trucking industry has had about 100 to 110% turnover rate for many, many years, meaning that they're losing more people than they're bringing in. So it's a sinking ship, and we've got to be able to figure out how to retain and keep those truck drivers with some of those companies if that volume is going to continue to grow.
Well, I'm here. I have a pickup truck, so maybe
sure.
I can.
I'll make sure I call you next time I get to work west.
I can help. Well, guys, what an interesting subject today. Thanks for joining us today. We appreciate you being with us.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you for having us.
And if you'd like more information on logistics or on site selection, both their websites and social media contacts and phone numbers will be on our site at commercialrealestateshow.com. We'll also have some video versions of this show, so if you're listening to the show on one of the radio stations, the 40 stations around the country, be sure to check out commercialrealestateshow.com. And then next week, we'll have a show on retail, the wild and woolly world of retail real estate. So stay tuned and see us next week. And be sure you lead, learn, and laugh, and join us for the Commercial Real Estate Show. The Commercial Real Estate Show is brought to you by Bull Realty Commercial Brokerage, a great place to do business. Visit bullrealty.com. RealNex, a comprehensive suite of powerful commercial real estate tools at an incredibly low price. Visit realnex.com. That's RealNex. Sozo Web Hosting and Cloud Solutions. Secure, reliable, and worry-free. Visit sozo.com. That's SOZO.com. FIU, Florida International University. Earn your master's in real estate online in as little as 10 months. Visit FIUonline.com. And by France Media, providing exposure to the world of commercial real estate. Visit francemediainc.com. For more information on these great companies or for additional podcasts, videos, or blogs, visit creshow.com.